Good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike. It is Tuesday, June 27th. Hey, it's my birthday, and boy, the markets have been a rough day. So let's get right into it. This is your weekly, your daily update and option update for today, the 27th. So markets really did not treat us well today. They were really kind of tricky. So we gapped down a little bit, went sideways for a long time on the Qs, and then we got a lunchtime sell, and we're closing. Well, for the less than a half hour to go, we're close to the lows of the day here on the Qs. You can see we have come back to the 50-day again, and right now we're just below it, or right on it here on the Qs. So kind of important to hold this because this is an area that has been support every time on the SPY, and let's switch this over to the SPX, the cash index here. All right, we have broken the 21-day. We're talking about that last night. This has been support, so we are now below it here. So this is, this is time to take notice. It's time to be cautious here and see what we're going to do. We're closing at the moment on the dead lows, and if that continues, probably expect some further downside. Could be in the futures market, and we bounce on that. IWM, by the way, holding up a little bit better here, only to the 21-day. But some things to keep in mind here. VIX as well. VIX spiking today, but nothing horribly. Still not even up to 11. We're going to go over a lot of the action today and what's going on. So let's start with the XLF. So the fins today were strong, and they were holding the SPY up during a lot of the day. And they were strong because you had Yellen speaking, and you have the bank stress test tomorrow, and we saw flow into a lot of the financials today. So to give you an idea, the XLF itself, October 24th calls are getting bought up. 31,000 of them at an early point this morning. You see, I was pointing that out early. They were coming in big and early into that. JP Morgan, they were buying up into the highs. They were coming in, and they were hitting the June weekly 89.50 calls. Bank of America has just been massive call buying all day, all over the place. Right, even as we're sitting here right now, Bank of America October 25 calls are pouring in again here. They just keep coming for it. So Bank of America, the July 23 calls have been very active. Weekly calls have been active. Now we're seeing October calls active. Overall, in Bank of America, a lot of volume traded today. If you look at some of these strikes today in Bank of America, you'll see been very, very busy in the weeklies. And then out to the July calls have been very busy. All right. And now we're starting to see out into October's are picking up some volume now too. 24s and 5s. So bank was very busy. What else did we see there? Goldman Sachs was picking up call buyer again. We saw this yesterday. But in Goldman Sachs, they were buying into weeklies as well. They weren't going long term. They were hitting the June 30th 220 calls here. All right. CS, Credit Suisse, another financial institution. They were seeing January 2019 17 calls, bought 2.5 million of them got bought up in a block. So somebody very, very long-term bullish on there. So the financials were a show of strength today, and they are closing better than most of the rest. Crude today was strong again as we head into API numbers now, and some news coming in there. Hate when I do that. You guys can see we bounced above the 8-day. We've got a nice dead count bounce going here, but the energy names are not bouncing with it. You can see I'm having a moment here. XLE is closing on the lows again. Another weekday, another 8-day failure and reversal candle here in this. So let's go to some of the indexes and what we've seen here in the index. Let's do some rumors first. KSS. We had two rumors today that were of note. KSS, first rumor that there was chatter that Kohl's is getting ready to sell themselves, and they bought the June 30th 38.50 calls on the open. It's closing okay. And AVP, which is Avon, another name, saw a chatter in that, and they hit the July 4th, which I can't even figure out how they did that, but that's okay. 11.29. I'm sorry, July 4 calls, July monthly 4 calls in this. This name's been a perennial buyout rumor. It never seems to go anywhere. Those were our rumors. In the indexes, they came early and often for TLT puts. And they were going after the July 7th 126, the July 125.50s, and the June 30th 126.50. So they were coming after bonds, seeing blood here all morning long. And they even went into the IEF, which is another Treasury ETF, and they hit there the January 19 100 puts, and they hit them big a couple times. In the SPY itself, we'll come back to that here. Look at this, the markets are still coming down here at this point. We knew lows on the day. So again, just screaming caution. We'll talk more about that in a minute. SPY, early on, we saw call buyers. They're buying the weekly tomorrow's 243.50 calls, and then they went and bought a bunch of July 14th 242 calls. Right, we even saw call buying on KRE, which is the ETF for the regional banks. They came in pretty early on this one, and you can see it up there. They hit the June 2018 53 calls right here early on. And then there were a bunch of gold sweepers. And they came in a couple times in here, and they were going after the July 121.50s and the August 126 calls with a little bit of you know, they wanted them. They were kind of in a rush to get them here just before the market started to go. And then semiconductors, SMH had a big call buyer yesterday, and then today gets smacked with a big put buyer, and they hit the July 77 puts here. So if you're confused, don't worry. The market's pretty much just as confused as you. W Day watching some July 7th 95 puts come in. And that's going to be the story of the afternoon, guys, was the puts that came in to a lot of these names. So we'll just start going over the call flow. A lot of this came in early. So right off the bat, X was active in the first minute or so of a couple minutes of the trading day, and they started hitting the July 21.50 calls. They hit them a couple times, and then they went out to September and started hitting the 22 calls. It didn't help. X is closing on the lows, another one of those ugly days in that name. Nucor, NWE, got some call buying into the July 58 calls, closing on the low of the day, came in there. AKS, same thing, July 7th calls. They came into weakness here, so they came back after those. One name that was strong, we saw call buying in it yesterday and more call buying late in the day today and some earlier on. It was Chicago Brick and Iron, CBI, the August 25s are now getting lit up into the close. Look at that bar. That's a big reversal candle here on volume. Something I'd keep my eye on going into tomorrow. AA saw a monster buyer. The only problem with AA is the call buyer came in here and they bought July 36 calls, almost $800,000 worth of it. And why don't I love it? Because, let me go get them. As you can, you ever try to drag something and suddenly it just doesn't want to drag? That's what I'm dealing with right here. Okay. July 36, they're way out of the money. So yes, there was a ton of them bought, probably almost $1 million at this point, but way, way out of the money. Not something I'm interested in touching here. That's probably an earnings play. All right, what else we got here? Okay, Temis saw a put seller and call buying on the rumors this morning again before the market opened, and they came in and they hit the July 61.50 calls, but then there was a large July 59 put seller. So somebody came in not far out of the money and sold 2,000 puts here, willing to take ownership. We like that. Still closing week. It doesn't look good here. JD, they came in and hit the August 40 calls a couple times, and it's just closing weak at this point with the markets. They do keep coming for this name. That's encouraging. Restoration Hardware, from a call buyer perspective, did get a nice sweep early, and it's closing at highs, and they came in after the June 30th 70 calls, which looked kind of funny back here, and up $5 now doesn't look quite so stilly anymore, does it? Micron caught big sweeps all day long, especially this morning. The biggest one was August 26 calls, over $4 million of it deep in the money. They have earnings tomorrow, Thursday after the close. So this is all around earnings. So just be careful. Tenet Healthcare saw a July 20 call buyer, but that was before the news came out that the Senate would not be voting this week for healthcare, and that's closing back below where the sweeper came in. Cara, I know a couple of you guys have been playing Cara. It's a pharmaceutical. It's had a couple call buyers. It's had a big move, and they came back for the August 30s today and then the November 30s. I'd like to see it cool off here a little bit. What do I got? QQQs. Okay, somebody's coming in dip buying weekly QQQs here. So right here, they're coming in and they're getting the weekly 140s on the Qs. And it's not a bad amount of them. It's a decent size here coming into this weakness. So we'll see if they're right. All right, back to where we were. ILG, and we're getting a bounce in the markets now at this point. Something to keep an eye on. ILG, we saw the September 30 calls bought. I mean, even with the sell-off today, the flow was just bullish most of the day. Pizza, Domino's, you want to buy some pizzas? Papa John's, sorry. Papa John's saw July 75 calls bought into a chart that's full of weakness here. Twitter, they came back after yesterday's little sell-off and bought the weekly 1950 calls, trying to pump that one up. Charter saw a big-time July 345 call buyer, over $1 million worth, $1.6 million worth here. So somebody had big belief in Charter. There was some talk about rumors out there this morning. We'll see how that plays out. CAR, they came in early into this name again, and they hit the August 28 calls, over 2,000 of them. So just very, very active day in these names. Disney, which has been dead, even caught a call sweeper today. They came out into January 115 calls. So they went back up to an area they were playing with. All that would put it all the way back up here at highs at this point. So you get the idea. There was a lot of call buying today. Since the sell-off, we haven't been seeing much. We saw some Facebook July 28th, 152.50 calls. Nothing special. In Facebook, they could do a lot more. They came in right, there. Fox, they came after, FOX. Yesterday, they were hitting Fox A, which is the Class A of Fox. They hit Fox now with a January 28 $1 million call sweeper into this. So somebody's expecting big things here. And Amazon even saw a little bit of buying into the lows of the first low. So right down here, the first low, they came after some of the, just lost it, there we go, weekly 987.50 calls. I did trade Amazon today. I tried to get out for a profit, didn't, got caught up and took a nice size loss getting out of this thing when it really started to sell right about here. I have no position in it now. Other than that, I did add to my Dollar Tree today, and at this point, I brought my cost down, and I do think this is trying to go. If it gets a little higher now, it would be good if the market holds in. On to puts, guys, and this is where the bulk of the activity's been, but nothing massive. So into Kellogg, we saw early in the morning the August 67.50 puts got bought big. So somebody came in early, bought stuff here. Coke caught a small put sweeper as well into the July 44.50 puts. You can see that was early this morning as well. CF, the Ags, one of the Ag names we play. They came into this one pretty early and hit the November 27.50 puts, 300,000 of them. Boy, that one worked out well for him so far. I don't know. Intel, there was a big block and it got redone. But long of the story is somebody came in and bought the October 34 puts, and they bought $6 million originally. It got redone, something less. Unclear what's going on here. It's just a very big protective means, not something I would try to trade. Baba caught a small weekly put buyer into the weekly 137 puts as it came down. I'm still in Baba, waiting to see how this plays out. AZN as well caught some put action to the July 34s, about $250,000 worth into there. So somebody was very aggressively buying puts there today. Just looking around, see if I'm missing anything for you guys. Nothing there. C-Trips all weekly put buyings into the June 30th. So did CIM. So C-Trip first. There you go. Came in late. Protection coming in late into that name. CIM, they were buying August 19 puts. So somebody coming in and protecting this one as well. HP is a name I've been played to the long. They often come from it. Now they've been selling this off, and they've been buying protection on the way down. And today we saw a January 1915 put sweeper. So somebody's going long-term bearish on HPE. Something to note if you're long this one. Cirrus saw some put sweeping. TXN, these were all small, very small, protective in nature. And Cree, EA, the one that I caught that was big was Key, KEY. KEY, January 19 puts, almost $200,000 of them came in here late. So let's take a couple minutes and talk about what we have going on here. We are about 13 minutes from the close. We're off the dead lows, but not by much here at this point. And markets are closing weak. So let's look at some names. I'm not going to be around for charts tonight, so I'm going to post this for free. Tesla lost the 8-day early and now is on the 21-day. This is an area I would watch to see if we can buy it. Let's look for a reversal candle tomorrow, maybe a dip below here and then a reverse back up to buy this on. I do like some Tesla here. Amazon tried to show some strength and just lost everything here, and it's really kind of in limbo. Maybe it's buyable off the 50-day. I don't know here. It's held that a couple times in this move. It's just not acting well. Google got smacked today with the news from Europe and getting hit with that fine of $2.7 billion and is now already on the 50-day here. See if it reverses or does anything. They were trying to buy Facebook today. It is bouncing off the 50-day and holding in better late this afternoon than some of the other names. So I'd keep an eye on that one if you want to go long. Again, look for reversal candles tomorrow. BABA, believe it or not, BABA is still holding the 8-day through all this. BABA remains very strong here. Something I would keep an eye on. Apple, guys, back on the 100-day. It's hit this a couple times through here, and it's holding it again. Not pretty. See if it can hold. Maybe we break to the downside here. Hard to say which way this one wants to go now. You would have thought the cybersecurity with that big hack around the world would be strong today, and they were initially, but they're all selling off now. Faye closing on lows. I thought that would have been a good one today. Palo Alto closing on lows. Hack closing on lows. So we kind of see the theme there. Nothing really working well there. So tomorrow I'll be watching the banks to see if they can give us some strength, some places to play. I'll be looking for reversal candles and our names we love and love to play. Biotech, by the way, right to the 8-day. Talk last night, it'd be very bullish if it held this candle and still be bullish if it held the 8-day. Got to watch here tomorrow. Closing on the lows, that's a big engulfing candle here. See how it plays out. Look at Celgene at this point. My favorite, giving you not holding in much better than the ETF itself, still stronger. All right, Celgene to me still remains best in class. Regen is also a good name to look at every once in a while, and that's still holding the 8-day. I'm going to take a look at Priceline and switch gears on you. This thing is not falling apart today. Overall market volume today is nothing huge. It's better than yesterday, but nothing big, nothing like the down days we've seen in this market when it really wanted to sell off. Although it was definitely much more elevated this afternoon. And you can see here on the SPY, everything picked up on this candle. Volume just has been much higher from that candle there. So you can come in, pull it back, see how we were low volume, boom, 1.8 million shares, and that kind of set the tone for the afternoon at that point. Down to 10 minutes to the close. So my advice, guys, going forward tomorrow, take notice of this. If you're not already short, look for a bounce to short into. If you're in long-term positions, you're fine. If you're looking to buy the dips, buy some time here. Don't go buying short-term options right now unless you're just going to scalp, and you better be quick. Markets are reversing back to lows here. We're not holding. We got 9 minutes to go. Still a lot of weakness, and the VIX is now starting to spike into the close. We did see, I talked about UVXY call buyer today as well. And this, so there's just a little bit going on here, a little bit of everything going on in this market. So we're going to have to see how this plays out at this point. With 9 minutes to go, my advice, play light, play small, wait for some reversal. You'll see the call buyers come screaming in when they're ready to buy this market. Somebody's telling me to look at NVIDIA while I'm up here, so I'm going to give you guys a final look. NVIDIA, Yep, NVIDIA broke the 21-day where I was looking. I haven't looked at this all day since it broke there at this point. And now we'll see what kind of price discovery is. We are definitely not seeing markup action this week as we normally do. Guys, if you enjoy what I do here, I do have a service for this. Please take a look. It's alphashark.com/bestcoaching. It'll look something like this when you sign in, alphashark.com/bestcoaching. Come on, give me a try for a month. You get this kind of review every night. And look for along with live coaching on Thursdays and once a month on Saturdays. We do a boot camp. So join me. Have a good night, guys. I will catch you all in the AM. Good night.